I don't always do photography and videography in areas where trains are running, but when I do, I feel it's important to explain a few things. You'll notice how shiny these rails are compared to the rusty rails I normally photograph. That's because these rails get used generally 5 times a week by a train that delivers propane cars from Nanaimo's Wellcox rail yard to Superior Propane in central Nanaimo. The rule in most places is that any time can be train time. So you have to always expect that a train could be coming around the corner, which means being on rails, shiny rails like this, is inherently dangerous. But on Vancouver Island we have a bit of a unique rail environment where it's well known that the only train that's running is the propane car train through Nanaimo. And that gives me less of a risk when I'm going to places like between Parksville and Port Alberni, between Parksville and Courtenay, that haven't seen a train in 10 or 20 years approximately. And I know that there's no trains going because I follow the situation very closely. There are no customers. There's a 10-mile-an-hour slow order on the tracks. And when rail is as political as it is on Vancouver Island, and there's only one freight customer, it makes it easier to know that where I am is less of a risk. And so I'm here on a Saturday, and I would not come here on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that's when trains are running, and I don't think that's safe for me. But even on a Saturday, I've always got to be alert. When you're on a railway, you never ever have earbuds in or have anything that cuts off your hearing, and you always stay situationally aware. And this situation is far different from the mainland. When I'm on the mainland, I stay far away from the tracks. Trains are big, trains are fast, trains are frequent. Here, in this area, trains are 5 days a week, trains are small, and trains are very slow. But still, they're way bigger than me, so I'm careful. The other thing is I have more fun photographing and doing videos of old infrastructure for the sake of the history of it, rather than a moving train. Okay, back to the switch. Here's the frog. Here's the switch. Look at where it's set. It's set for taking the main line. It surprises me that the switch is set for main line going south, because I just assumed that the usual only traffic here is to take the spur, to go left here. But maybe there's a regulation that says you always leave the switch in the position for the main line, even if the main line doesn't get regularly used. Okay, let's get up close and personal with the rails here. Okay, starting the leg of the ENN main line at Stockett, or right now I'm north of Stockett going southbound at the junction of the north leg of the Wellcox Spur here on my left, and the E&N Mainline looking south on my right, and I'm going to go right. Hello, frog. How you doing? And the sun comes out. I'm amazed at how fast the road drops away on the left side for the spur. A little bit of a grade. I'll have to look at my grade charts when I get home. This is an interesting view here, and I'm thankful for the shade so I can take a better photograph. So I'll stop and do some photo here. I'm nice and high up above the spur now. That's where they merge. And I continue onwards on the E&N Mainline southward. I'm right around mile 70.2 perhaps. Yeah, there's the spur. And here we are looking back at the change of elevation. Bye-bye to the spur. I'm guessing it'll be this little curve and then a straight stretch for the level crossing at 10th Street. I'll find out. There's the spur. And here comes the level crossing for 10th Street. This is the end of my walk for today, but depending on how I edit this, this is likely somewhere in the middle of the video, and I continue on. We'll see what the light change and cloud change is like for video continuity, because about 2 hours ago I was in the same spot walking south at the start of my recording day, and now 2 hours later, the same spot, come around full Y circle. We'll see how it goes. Magic of editing. Looking railway south on the main E&N line, getting ready to cross 10th Street. Further on that way is there's another level crossing for a leg of the Y. So I'm heading down southward on the E&N main line, and this portion here I will continue till I get to the Stockett junction for the south leg of the Y. In terms of chronology, this is the first segment that I'm recording here. but I think I'm going to edit it so that this is somewhere in the middle. Highway 19, Nanaimo Parkway is through there. And this here part of the main line is hardly used at all, other than for Y purposes, for turning if they need to. And it used to get used twice a day by the dayliner. This is very close to where Highway 19 and Highway 1 meet at Chase River, south of Nanaimo. And the other junction that I'm more interested in now is the south leg of the Y and the main line that I'm on. And a milepost. Milepost 70. Should be really close to the leg, which should be through the woods. I can't see it yet. I looked from the Google Maps that the south leg of the Y ran really close to the main line, almost parallel for a little bit while before joining it. I will find out. Onward. I enjoy the discovery aspect of seeing something on the map, having a rough idea what it's going to look like. Heading south on the main line, and to the left of me is the nice clean south leg of the Wellcox Spur. I'm just going to wait to the junction and then walk through that way. But it is right there. It's really pretty. I'm almost at the junction, still continuing south on the main line. I'm really close to Highway 19, so I can hear a lot of traffic noise. Here's the frog. Now that I finally know what a frog is, I mention it in all my videos. I still don't really know much. That's okay. Here's the switch. One of the few regularly operated switches on the ENN Railway. This video really has three different legs to it. It has the main line, which went from north to south, and this is now starting the south leg to the Wellcox Spur. So I'm looking northwards. Here's the switch. Okay, let's walk on to the south spur. South leg of the spur, I should say. Yeah, I just use all these words interchangeably. I was having a lazy Saturday morning at home, which is why it is 11:30 in the morning with the sun high in the sky, just causing horrible lighting. The perfectionist in me is annoyed. Oh well, I'm just happy that I'm finally here. Nice and straight for the leg of a Y. But that's just because it's probably got some elevation change to make before it meets the other leg. There's a little glimpse of the Mainline. Continue northwards on the south leg to the Wellcox Spur. I can randomly call this the south leg of the Spur, the south leg of the Wye. And around this corner, as noted by the whistle sign, I'll find the level crossing over 10th Street, just down the road from the other level crossing that I cross in this video. Here comes the curve, setting us up to cross 10th Street. Right up through there is the old Stockett sidings. Found evidence of two. Depending on how I edit this video, you've already seen that, or you're going to see it. I'm going to say that this Wellcox Spur wasn't built until the 1950s. I'm basing that upon the CPR taking over the Nanaimo waterfront property from the coal mining companies around that time, which allowed CPR to develop it into a rail yard and, more importantly, a modern barge slip for barges and rail ferries to the mainland, which replaced JM in Nanaimo Bay. So I'm assuming that this spur was built for that new operation. There's a possibility that some of this might have been a legacy from old coal mining railways that also went to downtown Nanaimo, but I don't know that. Here comes 10th Street crossing for the Wellcox Spur. It's always important to make sure I don't get clunked by a car crossing a level crossing. So this continues the south leg onto the Wellcox Spur. I will get to a junction point with a switch where I meet the north leg of the spur. In terms of rail activity on the ENN and places I normally go, this is a bit unique because this is an active area for train movement, but generally not on weekends. The train of propane cars goes generally 5 days a week on weekdays. Although I like to walk on railways and structures, I do not like to go near them when trains are running. And here we come up to the junction. One of the more modern switches, probably, just because it gets used a lot. Or I assume it gets used a lot if they use the south leg to use this as a Y for turnarounds. In spite of the rail yard, I think this is the only functioning Y on the ENN railway system. Port Alberni Yard has one that's all overgrown. I just did a video on that. Looking west, track I'm on is the south leg. On the right hand is the north leg. Two become one. What the ENN has joined together, let no man put asunder. Here's the switch, right at the edge of the bridge. modern switch and the bridge. A very simple bridge. There's two spans on it, identical in design. It was originally a one-span bridge until the 70s, and then the highway was four-laned and they created an extra span by excavating some of the fill. I remember that as a kid. The Wellcox Highway Bridge, geographic westward now. The frog. So to the left is the south leg, to the right is the north leg. I'm going to the right. So this segment will take me on the Wellcox Spur north leg from the bridge to the E&N Mainline. I will take the North Spur. You see the clouds in the background. One of my things I'd like to have happen is this leg to get completed before the big rain comes, if it is coming. But the clouds are helping give some nice filter to the sun. Doesn't get too bright. And there's something nice in photography of the sky just after it rains, but you have to get through the rain first. There are some new ties here. What a difference it is being on the actively used part of the E&N. Vegetation control, nicer ties. Wow. One of the things about doing rail exploration in an urban area, instead of worrying about cougars and bears and ticks, you get impact of people and stuff. And so, you know, impacts of whether people were living here, junk, clothing. You can speculate all you want about crime and homelessness, but it's just a different kind of awareness for when I'm doing this, of just being aware. My videos will capture sound and sight but it doesn't capture a smell. And on a warm day like this, you can really smell the creosote on the ties. A smell I forever associate with doing this kind of hobby. And a reminder when I get home to be careful with my shoes and clean the bottoms. It's a steep drop off here. I'm on a filled up bank. And I'm behind the industrial buildings such as the fish cannery. And around this corner will likely be the junction with the main line. And if I continued north from there, I'd come to the level crossing at, I think it's 7th Street in Nanaimo, which apparently has an old spur right near it. I got to explore that sometime. I think the junction is up ahead. I see it open up, curve to the right. I spy with my little eye ties that are maybe yellow cedar. Yellow cedar ties are going to be available from Englewood Logging Railway, if not already. There's a whole lot of them stockpiled up near Beaver Cove. These ties here, lots of newer ones. Again, it makes sense. This is the actively used part of the ENN Railway 5 days a week. Says the look and feel of tie work being done recently. And we are coming up to the junction, multi-level junction, where the main line is a little bit higher in elevation. In fact, I always love it when I say something and then I turn and I look and go, oh, it's right there. Higher up, and then we'll just go some distance and merge. Wow. I don't think I've sung the high road, low road, we'll see who gets to Scotland first song on any of my videos yet. I probably shouldn't start now. But I am on the low road, and I eventually will get to the high road. Yeah. Coming closer in elevation. Expect to see a switch around the corner. And here is the junction with the main line to my left. End of this segment of the north leg of the Wellcox Spur, or the north leg of the Wye, whatever you want to call it. Nice.